Okay, it says I'm live, and let's check. Link in description. No, don't stop sharing. There we go. Okay, excellent. Warning, F-bombs are armed and will eventually be dropped. And good morning. It is 30 December 2021. No, Squatch, I am not late. YouTube was late. I was actually like 12 seconds early when I hit the button. But that's okay. Aren't we used to it by now? Okay. So this morning, I have a few things to go over. And a couple details for this stream. I'm going to have to open a couple of pages so the chat will go away intermittently, a little more intermittently than usual. And I cannot find my Bluetooth this morning for the life of me. So I'm just kind of screwed this morning. All right. It is what it is. I'm sorry, guys. But we're over it. All right. So this morning's subjects are Denver, Burlington, Australia's gun control failures. And I say failures in the plural, even though it's listed in the singular. News media doxing. Oh, I'm legitimately pissed this time. I was pissed last time. And this time, fuck you. Witch hunts, technical language. Candy for your get home bag. And conditional exemptions. Ow. All right. Let's start with Denver. Going over the chat real quick. Morning, Cheese. Thank you. All right. Let's... I guess I have to stop the screen to switch, which is really ridiculous, guys. Come on. Okay, I'm going to full screen this for a moment. Because I would like you all to read along with me. 5 dead after shooting spree across Denver area. Now, obviously, Denver refers to Denver, Colorado. How do I put this without being rude? Denver is not known for their great 2A attitudes. All right, Colorado in general is, but Denver misses the mark. Five people are dead, including the shooter, after a gunman went on a shooting spree across the Denver metro area Monday night. This is last Monday, I believe. Actually, it's 4. The shooter killed himself, which is suicide, which does not count. I'm not changing my story. 2 women were killed and 1 man was injured in the first shooting. And then 2 others 2 hours later in a suburb, I believe it was. Here we go. Suspect fled into Belmar Shopping Center in Lakewood, firing at officers as he ran into a business. Shot a clerk and a Lakewood police officer. They're recovering. Did I miss something important there? Nope, that wasn't it. It was actually something. Connected and believe that it was one individual who acted alone at the time. However, cops are reportedly searching the area near Target in Belmar for potential additional suspects. Okay, let's cut to the chase here. That was a macro 917 at work. Now, at this time, I do not know any more details. That's the only story I saw. Windows. Yeah, that one. Thanks. This would be so much easier if they just make that an automatic thing. Whatever. Those are the only details I have at this time. He went from place to place shooting different people. He was so brazen that he decided to shoot it out with the cops rather than just go down, which I actually kind of understand. And last but not least, at the end of the day, it was not the police that killed him. He did it himself. Here's a reality, and every cop in the world will tell you. 9 out of 10 shooting suspects, or firearm death suspects, are not killed by the cops. They kill themselves rather than allow themselves to be captured alive. I am tired of being called the crazy one just because I saw a pattern that my supposed betters couldn't. Would mandatory carry have stopped this? Maybe. I'm adult enough to accept that the answer is maybe. If he has any rationality left in his head, he would have realized this is not going to work and not bothered trying. If he doesn't, even that mandatory carry wouldn't have stopped it, but the man that survived that first shooting could have returned fire and very least forced him to rethink his plans. I'm saying this the way it is. Even the mentally ill cases, or the too high to think clearly cases, or the whatever cases, once you shoot back, they start rethinking their plans real fast. The degree of dedication needed to be able to be shot at and continue on with this plan requires military and paramilitary degree training. It does. That's as simple as that. That's why when 917 comes, if they use a local recruit, or local resources, they will have to still have that professionally trained foreign fighter. Okay, I'm going to go over the chat real quick. Yeah, Squatch is pointing out that he uses OBS because he knows how it works, and I don't get it. I've tried. I can't even find one that works. He had an allergy attack. I was not aware. And it's far more complicated, but much easier media management. I'm not sure what that was in reference to. In case any of you are watching or listening in replay or blind or whatever, Caucasian Sasquatch points out Kerry isn't crazy. He is a bit autistic, and his TISM sees connections where other normies don't notice. You know what? Yeah, I am a bit autistic. I'm proud of it. So, all my haters, which would not include Squatch. All right. This was a micro 9017. Now, a macro 9017 was, oh, Jesus Christ, 2016? I believe it was 2016 down in San Bernardino, California, the Inland Regional Center shooting. What they did differently there, though, is they went to one place, did one job, and then left and didn't move on to the next place. Why not? I don't know. I really don't know. And to the best of my knowledge, nobody else does either. Oh, shit. Did I, is this moving forward correctly, guys? Yes, it is. Good. All right. So there's another one, and this is very embarrassing, and it will lead into one of the further topics. The Cambria shooting, I believe it was, from, oh, Jesus Christ, 2005. You know what? In the chat, if you know a different date, different year, let me know. But I believe it was 2005, where a taxi driver in the outskirts of London literally went place to place shooting random people. In England, with the gun ban in place, and he still pulled this off. And they would not have caught him if he didn't allow himself to have gotten caught. Squatch is also saying, takes one to know one. No, you're not autistic. You're just kind of funny. Okay, so there it is. Now, if you pretend that 9017 is impossible, you're lying to me. All right? From this day on, anybody that says 9017 is impossible is lying to me. I'm done. For those of you that still think that gun bans will make these impossible, and it's in my playlist, or it's on my channel rather, gun control has failed. With the Pez de Resistance, Pez de Resistance, no, the coup de grace being the last segment, which is Alan Hart's Mac 10. I'm going to say this each and every fucking time. The Mac 10. Alan Hart's Mac 10. 0% gun parts. 100% trash, as he put it. A worn out RAM set. In what he claims was a mattress spring. And, you know, it does kind of look like a mattress spring. But I have some doubts. I don't think he used a mattress spring. I think he used something else. Mattress springs are just not strong enough to take that kind of abuse for very long. They are strong enough to work for a few shots. If you want it to actually work, you would have to get something else a little bit better, a lot better. The only thing about his gun that I actually disliked was the bolt assembly, and it's very plausible that he used that particular setup, A, because those were the parts he had, and more importantly, because B, the parts I would have used may not have worked with the gun that particular way. Okay, Cheese Bear, thank you. Always correct a wise man. He will thank you for it. Cumbria, I mispronounced the name, shooting 2 January 2010. Oh, ouch. Wrong month, wrong year. Probably wrong city because I remembered one letter wrong. I was even knew I was going to talk about it, and I meant to look that up. Squatch, I think maybe you should consider it anyway. But moving right along. All right. So, there it is. It happened. Very, very small scale, but it did happen. Gets worse. I'm not going to go into anything resembling specifics, but I would stay home with family or have a very private party behind a very locked door tomorrow night. Sorry to all the bars that will be affected, but yeah, there it is. Cheese Bear says specifically June. Sorry I put June and it is commonly confused with January. Okay, well, Cheese, you didn't make a mistake, so nothing to apologize. By accident or design, you got it right, so I don't care. 2 plus 2 and 2 times 2 are still 4. Moving on. If you want to pretend that 9017 is not possible, yeah. I got a word for you. It's not a polite word. All right. Burlington. This brings me to a actually related subject. I know there's a lot of hate and malcontent about the Burlington shooting. I have watched the video, and I watched it on national television, so don't tell me it's not out there. It is the officer's own body cam footage, not security footage or a witness's a cell phone or something like that. No, this is the cop's body cam footage. This is it. This is the thing that the cops saw when this thing was happening. It was also spliced with security cam footage from before they got there. But okay. A man is in a Burlington and he's hitting people with a bike lock. Now, if you want to try and tell me the bike lock is not a deadly weapon, go fuck yourself. All right. That was my good behavior. Moving right along. Somebody called the cops. And probably like a dozen people called the cops. And fine, good, great. Totally get it. All right. The world as it really is now, a dozen people called the cops. Good, great. Totally get it. At one point, the officers in one of the main aisles, suspects coming up one of the back aisles, which are most commonly used by employees to move materials around within a section. So basically, he's skulking back there. He knows the cops are around, and he's trying to avoid them. Okay. I totally get it. And the cop knows he's back there, comes up to one of the merchandise aisles, 3 shots. The man went down. I see the video. There's at least one hole. I remember it because, well, from my perspective, it's right about here to the officer's perspective. Went right through the, I assume, sheetrock, and it struck an innocent person. Just a 14-year-old girl who was out shopping for a dress. She's dead. That is unfortunate. That is an unintended, unforeseeable, and not preventable consequence of this guy running around hitting people with bike locks and trying to kill them. For the life of me, I cannot see what the officer could have done better. There's not a better in this scenario without hitting him 5 guys all hitting him at literally the same time. 3 of them still going to the hospital. One of them probably with life-threatening injuries. What in the hell? Okay, guys, I gotta restart the chat because something went wrong. Oop, damn it. Okay. There we go. Sorry. One of these days I'll become a professional. All right. So as I was ranting, I cannot see for the life of me what the officer could have done better. That's it. And kiss my ass if you don't like it. This does bring up another subject. Professional shooters could not hit this guy on automatic. They barely got him the one time. So for those of you that are saying I should be allowed to carry an automatic weapon around with me, yeah. I would invite you to even try and do that same test. By the way, let me know how many times you hit the guy, because I guarantee you're not going to. Okay. This one case by itself, first of all, the officer did nothing wrong. That's it. You may not like the results. I don't like the results either. A 14-year-old girl is dead for no better reason than somebody else was being almost. Rhymes with forget. And he's dead and good. I don't give a shit. I care nothing for him. He's not even a human being to me anymore. She is, and that's a very unfortunate, but the officer did everything right. Second, it proves the ridiculous fallacy bordering on lie that you should be allowed to carry automatic weapons around. It's not going to work. Third, and there is a third here, does bring up a different question. In the mandatory carry world, the first person that saw this guy is going to try to shoot him. And this is going to lead to other people pulling their guns out. What happens then? See, I can argue against mandatory carry a whole lot better than anybody else on earth can. You take your shot. You stay on the target that you were aiming for. Everybody else stop. You draw your weapon, fine. But you stop where you are, and when you hear the police yell out, put your weapons down, just set them down, stay there, get accounted for. This is going to take days to completely square up. Okay, fine, that happened. But at the end of the day, I believe that's the way it will play out after the first couple of high school level training scenarios. And that's it. I've always said I could argue against mandatory carry better than everybody else combined, and now you just saw it. It's a shame nobody will ever follow up on this. All right. No, Squatch, I need you to promote me. I can never become a professional, guys. All right. Burlington. It's a case study on everything. Except what happens when a good guy with a gun sees a bad guy running around with or without a gun, without in this case. All right. It would have been so much better if we could have tested it with the gun. The bad guy with the gun. Oh, God. Excuse me, guys. All right. I'm going to have to close the chat because it didn't work last time. To lean into the next subject. Full screen this one because I would like you to read along with me. Now, this one's a bit of an old story. This is a bit of an old story. 2014. I've known about it since at least 2016. More Australian motorcycle gang DIY firearms surface. Yes, it's a bit of an older story. No, it's not a unique story. Take a look at that piece of gear. To me, that looks like a Tech 9 with no stock and a suppressor, silencer. I don't give a fuck what you want to call it. Oh, and a forward grip. Or something that's supposed to be a forward grip, maybe? I don't know. Fact of the matter is, you don't need a forward grip if you have a long mag on a weapon like this. But either way, and look at that. That is some nice workmanship. Am I lying? That is a really nice looking home-built gun. This is in no way any gun parts. 0%. This is... God damn him. That is actually a nice looking gun too. It's a shame it was fabricated by a master criminal. I don't know what that is. 2 home-built pistols were seized amongst other firearms on Tuesday by police in Sydney. They appear to have plastic or perhaps aluminum lower receivers. Hey. Oh, this is Firearms Blog. Of course they got it right. Lower receivers with angular mag wells. Nice. Both examples appear very well made. And look at this other one. I mean, it's not shiny, and maybe he wasn't finished, or maybe he rushed, or maybe this was the effect that he intended for, but goddamn, look at that one. It's also a very, very nice example. Oh yeah, by the way, both of these are automatic only. Wow. I'm going to take some general assumptions and say it's either one or both is either 45 cal or 9 mil. Probably suppressed. And yeah. And neither one of them was made with a single part that you can get at a gun store. In fact, I'm going to go there. None of this has any gun store parts except maybe, and this is a big maybe, the mag spring. All right, so this picture here is a little bit, okay, well, this half of the picture, you can see, maybe it's a little rougher right here. Damn. To recap, a number of improvised submachine guns have been seized in Australia recently, many based on the Expedient Homemade Firearms series of manuals by British author Philip Ludi. I've talked about Philip Ludi in the past. The man is a hero, and he went to prison for being a hero. Also in the background, you can see some revolvers. These were probably bought on the black market, but they could have been made in the shop just as easily. In fact, those would be easier than this. These submachine guns would have been. Here's another one. I believe this is actually the same one. Couple more, whether they're the same source or not. This is the... Oh, no, this is not the same one. What is this? Okay, well, that's a whole nother one. If you're not getting the hint by now, and allow me to be disrespectful. See, this one's very crude. It's a piece of trash. Looks like it might even be a bolt action. Also crude. A nice mix of very professional, very nice, and very crude. This one's a little bit cruder. Okay. Now, just to show how arrogant I really am, after the stream, I will be putting links to those stories into the description, or maybe a pin I should do a pinned reply. Oops. Share screen. Share. Ah, that's not what I wanted. All right. Sorry about this, guys. Someday I will be a professional and know what I'm doing. I'll also probably have a staff, so. Hey, Squatch, maybe I'll have to hire you, huh? Cheeseberry, I believe you're in Georgia, and that's all I can say. I have no idea Georgia gun laws at this point, although I've expressed an opinion about that. Moving on. Australians, your gun control laws totally, completely failed. They did not succeed in any way, shape, or form. All you did was create the black market for them to thrive in. Now, there's some people who say, well, we haven't had a mass shooting since 1984. Well, first of all, you hadn't had one in almost 100 years before that. So don't give me some shit about what happened after this, post hoc, ergo hoc. That's bullshit. Second of all, you've actually had mass shootings since then. And I should have pulled up the story. Oh, no. I wouldn't have because I couldn't find it. There was an entire family massacred in what we in the United States call a mobile home on, I think it was a 2-acre dirt lot out in the back of Sydney. I think it was Sydney. This is not a mass shooting. How? Because all of the victims were related, maybe? I don't know. No, that's not how it works. And by the way, most of the victims were children there. I'm just saying. Excuse me, Jesus in Tennessee, I know even less. Welcome back. Here's the thing about all of these countries that claim that their gun control laws worked. It's all about how you count the victims. Even Japan and China have mass shootings. But by selectively picking the victims, they can claim, no, it doesn't happen here because Well, no. This isn't a mass shooting because it was drug related. This isn't a mass shooting because not enough people died. This one isn't a mass shooting because 3 of the victims didn't die of the gunshot, they died of trauma later. Oh, Squatch, please take care of him for me. That's the truth. And for those of you that think that this is some sort of miracle from God on high, yeah, no. Either you're lying to me or you're lying to yourself. The worst thing you can do is lie to yourself. That is very dangerous. Okay. Squatch has a observation. They literally define the concept, mass shooting, as a white guy with a gun. No. Race is not relevant. Now, what the media will do with it is a different subject. And I've covered this in a different section, right? Penalties. Yeah. That was covered in penalties. Saying XYZ is a mass shooting just because it was a white guy is going to get you in just as much trouble as saying, and he used an assault weapon when it wasn't. And there have been female mass shooters. Inland Regional Center being the one that I'm really thinking of. She was the leader in that team. She was the real. She was the one pushing the agenda. The husband was going along with it happily, right? It might have even occurred to him first, but she was the one pushing it. Just like at Columbine, where the apparent follower was actually the one that wanted to do this so badly. You do that, Squad. Cheese. All right. Are we all clear here now? Do I need to beat this horse any deader? Australia's gun ban didn't work. Britain's gun ban didn't work. Russia's gun bans didn't work. Japan's gun bans didn't work. Now in Japan, there's actually a bit of a caveat. Between, 1614, I believe it was, the Hidari Edict, and somewhere in the late 18th, 19th century, firearm or firearms, that's the actual way it was written, were banned to the people. Somewhere in the late 1800s, that rule got loosened up because Japan saw they were headed towards a bigger future, and then the entire nation was basically drafted into the military. Right? It's rather strange to look at Japan today versus Japan of World War II and realize how very different their gun cultures are. It's different because MacArthur told them, you are going to give up all your firearms. I've said things about MacArthur I won't take back. I'm not going to get into it here and now. Fuck that guy. And fuck that guy twice for making the Japanese give up their firearms. He should have actually done the exact opposite. As Machiavelli says in chapter 20. I've actually read this book cover to cover. Well, not this one. This one's still in the wrapper. But a different copy. Chapter 20, paragraph 2. Oh no. Carrie actually knows even where to look. Never has the prince disarmed the people, but having found them disarmed, armed them. Fuck you, MacArthur. Moving on. It never works, and it never will work. Okay. Are there any questions here? Because there's a couple of people that I follow. Aussies, you are so arrogant. You are so conceited about your gun control laws. You think it's such a miracle. And you Brits, well, it's, at least some of the Aussies are saying, this is bad. This isn't working. This is not a great idea. I've never found that Brit, except, well, I didn't find him. Coleon Noir found him. He's a former British police officer who lives in Texas. I believe he said Texas now, because he saw what was going on in Britain and wanted the fuck out. That's it. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to take that back a little bit. Loke on the Range and Chappie bailed out of Britain because of the gun laws. They went to Switzerland, where things are a little less stupid. A whole lot less stupid, actually. All right. Coming up on 40 minutes now. By all means, call me out. Especially if you're an Aussie or a Brit. The link to the StreamYard is in the description. That's why I made a point of it to invite the Aussies that are still on speaking terms with me. All right. Media doxing. Let's get right into it. On Christmas Eve, Joe Biden was having a live interview about the NORAD Santa tracker. There's a very, very interesting and amusing history to that, involving a national defense breach. Oops. It was an accident. Nobody ever got in trouble. Good. This year, Joe decided he would join the Santa tracker. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And it's probably something with precedent. I just don't remember it. And that's fine too. Totally okay. I don't care. Really, really don't care. Some guy calls into the interview and says, and oh, by the way, let's go, Brandon. And Joe says, yes, let's go, Brandon. I agree. All right. This was a really petty and immature joke, considering who the butt of the joke was. Yeah, I don't care. I really don't care how immature it really was. He did make one serious mistake. He recorded himself doing it. And then he put it on Facebook. You know what? Okay. You did what you did. The news media has now been harassing and intimidating him in a way. If I did this to Brian Stelter or Don Lemon, I'd be in prison. So how do they get away with it? We should have gotten the clue in 2016 when they did this to a 14-year-old over a whole lot less than that. That kid, all he did was make a GIF. Oh, that was making fun of CNN specifically. And they harassed this kid completely off the internet. Unfortunately, terrorism has some nebulous definition, and that it is what it is. To my mind, this qualifies as terrorism, and specifically CNN going after the Han asshole Solo. Ooh, no. Yeah, F in chat for my channel now. And Joe from Oregon, supposedly. I don't know. And several others who've done equally silly and pointless things, and they've tried to have these people murdered. That's terrorism. When are we finally going to hold these people accountable for their actions? I'd love you to tell me. Joe did nothing wrong. Han asshole Solo did absolutely nothing wrong. At least Joe from Oregon had the background with Han asshole Solo saying, oh, if I do this, CNN will come after me. It's worth the risk. All right. Han asshole Solo didn't even have that much. Flag on the play. I've often thought to wonder, how did they find Han asshole Solo so easily? But moving right along. Why are we tolerating this? I'm going to lean into this a whole lot. 2016, there was an Antifa riot, and it was an actual riot, right? This was not a protest. This is a very violent riot. One guy who's filming the riot starts following this one chick because she's acting, she's acting in a very suspicious manner. She keeps covering her face. There's another girl there who attacks him. She beat him. She broke the phone. And she acts like she has every right in the world. She actually says, don't film me. You're in a place you may have had a right to be in, but engaged in an activity you do not have a right to be engaged in. Right? You do not have the right to hit somebody just because you don't like them, or you don't like the fact that they're recording you doing something that you shouldn't be doing in public. All right. I found her information very, very, very easily. It was part of her arrest record, which was published by the county sheriffs. The county jail, rather. I didn't even try. It was like 10 minutes from the moment I took an interest to look on the time I actually had the tweet up. The information was literally just pouring in through Google on my phone. I didn't have a laptop at the time. I was able to identify her name. I still remember her last name. Where she is now, I still remember that. Where she was from, I don't remember that off the top of my head. What her major in school was, I don't remember that now. I want to say it's poli-sci. And I could be mistaken. Doesn't matter. That tweet was removed as harassment and intimidation, and I'm a private citizen. This is public information. Okay. But CNN can do it because they're CNN. Fuck you. I was accused of harassment and intimidation, and CNN is actually calling for people to be murdered. What do you think is the purpose of that? On a related note is witch hunts. Now, I caught this. I'm actually setting the stream up, and I had put in the Doxxing corner of mine. I found a copy of, I think it was Time magazine. Cover was Salem witch hunts. Okay. Oh. Yeah, you know what? I should cover that because I actually did read that story. They talk about how the word witch hunt is being used inappropriately and then went on to begin a witch hunt of their own. So, a little background, 1640 something. All right. Cheese Bear says the media is demonizing and dehumanizing people. Hold on to that thought. 1642, I believe it was. First of all, a little background to what's going on. For about 15 years, there's an acre of dirt. 2 farmers want this acre of dirt. 1 acre. Not a lot of dirt. But both of them wanted it. One family happened to be in power, happened to be powerful family, and were able to get the dirt. The other family was poorer, less influential, were not allowed to have the dirt. It's as simple as that. The daughter of one of the 2 families, I can't remember which, gets this tiny, tiny little thing. She claims the slave of the other family, told her that she was a witch. Oh, God, what was the slave's name? I know the girl's name was Sarah. If anybody happens to remember off the top of your head, please drop it in the chat. I should have followed up on that. But anyway, Sarah claims the slave said, yes, I'm a witch. Later on down the road, the slave would claim, no, I didn't say that. But that's not relevant here. They drag her in front of the courtroom and, by confusing her, get her to say it again. This began a long series of what we today call denunciations. Accusation without evidence, and usually in denunciation, it is the accuser is private. Didn't happen in this case. The accused were dragged in front of a in front of a courtroom, and forced to confess or die. That's it. You didn't get a choice. You couldn't plead innocence. You couldn't just plead, no, I'm not a witch. What are you talking about? I've never practiced witchcraft. I don't know anything. Never met the devil. You either confessed or you died. That was it. This continued on until one of the judges started to express some skepticism about the accusations. You're dragging a lot of people in here. Some of it's kind of not really that great. And one of the particular breaking points was the Giles case. Forget Mr. Giles' first name. He accused his wife of being a witch. They killed her. And then about a week later, he confessed that he was a witch, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he just accused himself. Either way, they were trying to get a formal confession out of him. And it's a specific process. It has a name. But basically, they put a door on him and then started putting rocks on top of the door to get him to confess that he was a witch. And rather than say yes or no, because you do have to give a plea, he said more rocks. They obliged him and they killed him. This was kind of one of those breaking point moments when the judge started saying, something here isn't right. Something smells. Stop. You're accusing a lot of people of a lot of things, not bringing me a whole lot of evidence. I want to slow this thing down and start looking for some real evidence. His wife was accused. Oh, that was the wrong step to take. The accusers were getting a lot out of this. They were getting popularity. They were getting public recognition. They were getting money. Now it is standard practice to look into the accuser and see what they might gain from an accusation, along with the evidence of the accusation. Now, I'm going to pick on Squatch here. I accuse Squatch of having a long beard. Okay, well, if you ever see Squatch's videos, you'll know he actually does have a long beard. I do not. I could never grow a beard like that. What might I gain from accusing Squatch of having a long beard? Today, nothing. All right? Absolutely nothing. But maybe in 10 years, a long beard is a sign of virility, and clean-shaven face is a sign of impotence. No, but let's just go there. I'm trying to publicly shame Squatch. I know that kind of accusation logic doesn't even make sense, but let's go with it. Into forcing him to shave his beard. The fact is, yes, he does have a long beard. That doesn't change the fact that I might be getting something out of that accusation. Well, Cheese Bear earlier said the media is demonizing and dehumanizing people. They were doing it in 1642, and they're doing it now. And as Squatch points out, the accidental insurrection the day Ma stormed the Congress with a selfie stick. It's absolutely amazing. The accusers have something to gain. I'm going to pick on CNN because they keep fucking themselves in the ass. The media has something to gain. All right, they can gain the popularity. They can collect the rage clicks. They can collect the advertising revenue of people watching their programming, if you want to call it that. They have a lot to gain by accusing anybody of anything they want, and they don't have a whole lot to gain by telling the truth. The insurrection, if you want to call it that, was their accuse the wife of the judge moment. Okay, we know we're in trouble. We know we've been lying Let's accuse the people who are protesting everything that's been happening for the last 4 years of being the cause of the problem. Oh, now we know why Your Honor doesn't want this investigated. Your wife is one of them. Your people is one of the accused. Look how that turned out in 1642. On a related note, first of all, 6 people died at the Capitol protest. 1 was a justifiable shooting. I don't care if you like it. It was a justifiable shooting. If I'd been there seeing the same thing that he saw, I would have taken the same shot. I know there's some deep and serious questions about his motives, and okay, those should be investigated too. But at the end of the day, I would have taken that same shot. 1 was a stroke that was alleged to have been a fire extinguisher hit. That fire extinguisher story is absolutely false, was never true to begin with. It was promoted by CNN. Shock. And has never been properly retracted. The rest were all killed by the police. I'm just saying. And there's still a couple hundred people sitting in the DC jail who have not, I believe the arraignments are completed. That's it. Oh, well, we need time. You've had a year. Don't give me this shit. Do not tell me that it would take you a year to have all of these people processed. That's a lie. Catching up with the chat. Okay, Squatch says, I'm going to try a thing after your stream. Want to see my time thinks it noticed it. My Tim's thinks it noticed the thing. Tism. Squatch, I have a thing I have to do after the stream, so I'm afraid I can't. I might be able to hop in for about 15 minutes and give you a bird's eye view, but that's about all I could do. Send me a link by email, and I'll try to pop in for a couple minutes. Moving on. The thing about a witch hunt is you can accuse anybody of anything as long as it kind of fits the mold of the witch you're hunting for. And then not to put it too flippantly, but a lot of the Red Scare was a witch hunt. A lot of the people who were accused were actually innocent, but guilty of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. A lot of the people who claimed innocence were actually very guilty, and we know this because of the Russian records that were released after the fall of communism. Oh my. They were taking Russian money to make their movies. When that money dried up, something else came along, but we'll get into that later. And they were promoting the Russian message. A lot of them were guilty of taking the money and running. Back on the play. This is where, how much of a witch are you really? A very curious little story from the 1960s or 70s. There was this woman who relates the story. She had a classmate who would hand out copies of the Communist Manifesto. He had scraggly beard, rarely bathed, dirty clothes. He's just disgusting human being, right? He looked like a homeless guy. One day, her graduation came along, And this very clean-shaven, well-dressed man walks up. She looks at him. She says, "You look like the dirty hippie from the quad." And he says, "Yeah, that's me." "Wait, what? What the hell?" He explained that he was an economics major and he knew everything in that book was false. And he made himself look this way. Long, dirty beard, dirty clothes, smells disgusting. You could smell him like 15 feet away, much, much further with the wind, so that people wouldn't come up and take the book. He took the money and ran. He took the money and ran. There's a lot of people in Hollywood who took the money and ran. It is what it is. And that's a risk that the Kremlin, well, the GRU, they took. They knew it was a risk. They did it anyways. Okay. And they did it over and over again. So some of the accused were less guilty than others. Now, Cheese Bear says, never take a Russian's money and run. Very bad idea. In this case, it was actually a pretty good idea. First of all, Russians weren't really tracking it that carefully. It was all too small potatoes to deal with. Second, what are they going to do? All right. This guy, this dirty hippie, who's actually not a dirty hippie, he's doing the thing they said to do. What are they going to do? I'm just saying. Some people took the money and did exactly the thing, and there's a couple particularly awful and nasty cases. But not everybody. Witch hunts are very dangerous because there's no way to stop them once they get started. And those who are accusing control everything about the accusations. Might I be talking about a 3-letter name here? Oh, I've got to burn up at least another 45 minutes. Well, 40 minutes. Times have changed. Yeah, the accuser and the accusation, rather than being the poor family from the wrong side of the field, it's now the very rich family from the right side of the field. And the rich family from the right side of the field also has that much more power to back it up with. And you can't stop them from making the accusation because they will always hide behind editorial. Even when they make it very clear that this is not intended as editorial, or they do everything they can to hide the fact that, yeah, this is editorial. And it, as Eric Clapton put it, this has got to stop. All right. One way or another, this has to stop. All right, my next subject. Get home bag. Candy. These are cherry and orange slices, which I generally prefer. But ironically enough, and you've seen them in the chat before, this is an idea I got from Ghost Tactical. He puts gummy bears in his bug out bag. Generally speaking, I don't like gummy bears. I like cinnamon bears, but not gummy bears. Tastes and preferences, right? The brilliance of this is It's a little bit of energy to keep you going for the next couple of hours. You don't even have to go through the whole bag. You can go through, say, 4 or 5 when you're just heading out. Cinnamon bears and hot tamales have a second advantage. You can stick them under your tongue, and they will help keep you awake because they hurt. Because that's an unpleasant feeling, which can keep you going longer. So you don't need your bag, sleeping bag. But part of the brilliance of this, Event A has happened. Whether it's a fiery but mostly peaceful protest, or an earthquake, or as Papa Carey was facing wildfire, a really bad one too. This was the car fire back in 2018. I think it was 2018. Hey, Foss. Whatever. Event A is happening. All right. Stealing alcohol and cigarettes is a big, big no-no. Even I'm telling you, don't do that. But you're evacuating. You're trying to get away from the danger. You grab a bag of candy as you're running out the door. At least try to throw a $5 bill at the register. But at the end of the day, nobody's really going to care about this so much. That might help keep you going for an extra half an hour. You can put it in your bag beforehand. That would be best. Believe it or not, I got a 1-cup baggie of hot tamales in there right now. And I should have dug them out. This is actually my backup bag. When I pull those out, I'm going to toss this one in. Okay. Yes, Fawcett Clapton also said she don't like cocaine. I am never going to tell you to take illicit drugs. I am well aware of why some people might add it to their kit, and I don't recommend it. All right, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Squatch asked me about somebody coming, and I have no idea what you're talking about. I really don't. I think that might have been directed to somebody else. All right. Cheese says that she carries ginger candy, soft but not gummy, while assisting with calming the stomach. There's a lot of truth in that. Gummy candies do get stuck between your teeth, but so does every candy, guys. I'm sorry, that's kind of the way it is. You'll just have to brush your teeth twice as hard once you get home. Bag of candy. You can toss a bag of gummy bears if that's what you like. Anything, just to keep you going for an extra half an hour. And at the end of the day, I'm going to say this the way it is. If you steal a bag of candy in the middle of an evacuation, not too many people are going to say a whole lot. Stay away from the alcohol. Stay away from the cigarettes. That's a dick move anyway. But, and the water is one of the things that it's going to go away anyway. All right. Okay. Good. The current share is going to stop while I bring something else up. Windows, Dataslav, enter. All right, so this week for Dataslav is conditional exemptions. The following categories of persons may at their own discretion be exempt of carry during such times as said conditions exist. Okay. Just before I started the stream, I actually had to change shall be exempt to may of their own discretion. It is up to you to decide if you think you need to be exempt under these conditions. All right, conditional exemptions. We all have a situation that comes up. You don't expect it to last very long. There's something you can't control, and you have to break the rules. This is also the same as slamming on your brakes in the middle of the freeway because some asshole decided to run across 4 lanes of traffic. Right? Go into your state's vehicle code and look up the braking laws. Somewhere in there, it will tell you, no, you cannot stop in the middle of traffic. It's usually listed as stopping in traffic. There has never been a cop that has written that ticket that I'm aware of, at least. And the tickets that they will write is the guy that just keeps on plowing through anyway for bare minimum reckless. All right. There's this little bit of leeway where, yes, you can break the laws if it's dangerous to obey the law. It's even in the vehicle codes, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, by the way, it's also in aviation and maritime law. I believe in maritime law, it's Rule 13. Okay, so let's go through this list. Intoxicated persons. Any person under or intending to be under the influence of an intoxicating substance as established by their state's drunk driving statutes. I believe every state is now at 0 tolerance. I could be mistaken. Any person within 100 feet of their home, vehicle, place of employment, or a residence they have a right to be in as a guest. Exempt locations as provided below. Persons on exempt locations other than employees are exempt from carry during their time there. No location may enact a gun-free zone declaration of its own. All other gun-free zones and ordinance are hereby repealed. Employees of exempt locations are not eligible for any exemption under this act. I believe that may be a double print. Exempt locations. Persons in specific working conditions wherein compliance with the law presents such an unacceptable risk to their own safety or that around them of unintentional injury are exempt while while specific circumstances exists. This section refers to working conditions only. Maintenance. Any person who surrendered a weapon to an FFL holder for maintenance and or gunsmithing may show receipt for the weapon to any peace or court officer. No citation may be written if presented at time of discovery. Any citations shall be dismissed for a cause if presented in court without additional fine nor fee. Any professional other than an FFL holder or employee of an authorized gunsmith who attempts to determine the cause of the weapon surrender shall be fined not less than $1,000. A private party who attempts to determine the reason for a weapon surrender under this section shall be fined not more than $500. Any person working at the behest of a third party shall be considered a professional for the purposes of this section. Now, I'm going to go into that in much deeper detail later. Okay. Intoxicated persons, that's simple. You're drunk or you're going to get drunk. Any person within 100 feet of their home, vehicle, place of employment, or a residence they have a right to be in as a guest. The logic being, the shit hits the fan, you're going to go right straight back home as fast as you can. And you shouldn't have to gun up to go across the street to get a six-pack, a pack of cookies and a six-pack of beer. That's ridiculous. Right? Do you have to gun up to go in your backyard too? Absolutely insane. Exempt locations, that will actually be addressed later because that's another one I need to work on. I should write that down. But there is 3 exempt locations, and only one of them is always exempt. Persons in specific working conditions. Okay. My first thought was power line workers. Electricity and gun power usually do not mesh well. All right. It also occurred to me later on, sewage system employees. You're surrounded by tons of methane gas. One little electrical spark from a light overhead that you didn't have any control over could cause a citywide explosion. That would be a bad thing. So doing it deliberately just because you saw the biggest rat in the world and shot it, probably also a bad thing. Maintenance. Any person who has surrendered a weapon to an FFL for maintenance and or gunsmithing. Okay, that's what the actual written thing is. It's a little bit deeper than that. And I refer to this as the hold my guns exemption because HMJ made me think of it. Made me realize, hey, this is a thing. It needs to be dealt with. Hold my guns works with various FFL holders to hold on to guns for people who need to not have a gun at home. I've been there. I've done that. I had Papa and Mama carry. They took the guns. Dad took time off of work that day, took the guns up from Sacramento to Redding. And that situation worked out really, really much better that way. We're all going to be there at some point in our life. We're all going to do that at some point in our life. You walk in, you give them the gun, you say, my sights are bad. Or just very bluntly say, I'm here for HMG. Okay, hand me the weapon, give me your information. They write out a receipt, give it to you, and they'll put some bullshit thing in the description, bad barrel or sight maladjustment. They might even have a shop specific code that means, no, this is not really the problem. It's this guy turned it in because he's having a problem in his life. Okay, we'll charge you $1 a day, or we won't charge you. Or maybe if it's a legitimate maintenance or repair issue, we won't charge you for the storage. We're going to charge you for the maintenance and repair. There's a million ways this could work out. I'm okay with all of them equally. You just walked out of the gun shop. You put the receipt in your car. You go next door to get some ice cream because ice cream makes you feel better. A cop walks up and says, "Where's your gun?" Well, you might have to deal with that at the courthouse. But if you'd kept your receipt in your wallet, you could just say, oh yeah, I turned it in. My sights are off. And I can see possibly sometime in the near future of mandatory carries passage, my sights are off or something, becoming a euphemism for I turned my guns in because I'm having a very bad time in my life right now and I needed to get the guns out of the house. Okay. That's also why there is specific clauses in that section that says you can't ask what the problem is. Any professional other than an FFL holder or employee of authorized gunsmith who attempts to determine the cause of the weapon's surrender shall be fined not less than $1,000. Don't even ask. Oh, peace officer walks up, says, you got a receipt, 00 515, and your name is mandatory carry, and your gun is literally next door. Okay, so what's wrong with your gun? Oops, that's a $1,000 fine, officer. It's a $1,000 fine if I push the matter, not just, he flippantly asked, and I told him, yeah, my sights are off. Any private party who attempts to determine the reason for a weapons surrender under this section shall be fined not more than $500. That used to actually just be the $1,000 fine, period, end of discussion. You know what? Finding your next door neighbor for asking you why your gun was surrendered is kind of lame. All right? It's kind of ridiculous. Let's bring that down a notch, but let's make it very clear. No, you don't ask. Any person working at the behest of a third party shall be considered a professional for the purposes of this section. CNN. I'm going to pick on them. They put themselves in this position. CNN trying to find out why mandatory carry turned in his guns last week. Let's find out why. Let's find out how much of a hypocrite he really is. No, fuck you. And you found out from a third party. And my sights really were off. That is a big, oh, damn it. I'm sorry, guys. Let me full screen that for a second. All right. Conditional. Intoxicated. Home. Exempt locations. Specific working conditions. Maintenance. Okay, you should be able to get a screen share from there, or a screenshot from there, guys. Stop sharing. Share screen. Window. Chat. And close enough. All right, I'm going to catch up with the chat myself now. Not fear the ginger. Okay. So I'm caught up with the chat. I got about 30 minutes left to go. Conditional exemptions only exist while the condition exists. All right. Once you're better, or once you're not working on electrical utilities, or whatever, you're happy. You got the cookies. You're back home. Now you're drunk. Okay, well, you would now qualify under intoxicated. So you decide you want to go and get more cookies because you ran out of cookies. I didn't say that part made sense. I said you went and got more cookies. You would still qualify. You are now intoxicated. Conditional exemptions are on you. And if the state wants to prove that your condition didn't really meet that standard, go ahead. All right. Cop wanted to write the ticket anyways. He might end up paying this ticket. One of the dirty little secrets of law enforcement. If a cop writes a ticket, somebody's paying it one way or another. So yeah. Right. According to StreamYard, I got 5 people watching now. I got about 30 minutes to go. So I know DM Foss is out there. You can ask a question. You never ask me anything, Foss. course, Squatch doesn't ask me a whole lot either. I get more questions out of Cheese Bear in an average live stream than I do out of Squatch in a month. Why is that, Squatch? Moving right along. So go ahead and ask questions, guys. I'm not afraid of them. There's something I shared on Instagram. I can't remember the exact words, but the truth does not mind being tested. A lie will not tolerate being challenged. Well, the only thing I got going for me is the truth. And those questions are actually very helpful to me, because sometimes those questions lead to me saying, oh my God, I didn't think of that. It's one of the conditional examples. Papa Carey threw something at me. This is way the hell back in 2013, before I even am mandatory carry. And I'm just kind of floating this idea in my own head. What about this? What about that? I floated it to Dad, and he said, what about something? Oh, yeah, I guess I should make that an exemption. I want to say it was intoxication. And this was back before there were separate categories of exemptions. And no, Cheese, you actually were uncalled out. Squatch got called out. Cheese also said, if you're going to have a regulation regarding temporary conditions, who will monitor the length is appropriate? Humans have a habit of manipulating loopholes such as this. That's true. All right. And that's the best answer I can give. That's the only answer I can give. Hey, Luke. I do get questions from Luke from time to time, although they're usually on Discord. There's somebody out there who has a loophole to seatbelt laws. I'm not exactly sure how he gets around it, but he gets around it somehow. Maybe he Mad Maxes his shit. How do I address somebody whose motivation in life is to be an asshole? It's as simple as that. Boss asks, when did you start working on the mandatory carry regulations? I started working on mandatory carry as a larger concept formally in 2016. If you give me a couple days, I could actually track down the day and the post. Dataslav Act, or what would eventually be called Dataslav Act, I started in 2017, somewhere in summer of 2017. And I'm particularly fond of Kennesaw, Georgia, because the original Dataslav Act was actually a direct copy and paste of the Kennesaw City Ordinance with, I think, 3 words changed. That was it. It got me to the end of a week to realize, or maybe it was the end of the month, to realize that, no, this isn't quite comprehensive enough. I need to start this all over again. But that was the original draft. Squatch points out that as late as as early as a year and a half ago, he calls it full manifesto. I call it bill. But yeah, actually, and even since then, there's been minor changes. Just this morning, there was a change. Shell got taken out of conditional, and may at individual's discretion was put in. Okay, I think sidearms should be issued for every citizen and be required to carry and present as if your personal ID. Squatch brought that up last week, or maybe it was the week before, and yeah, there's something there. Okay. Unfortunately, reaching for a gun when an officer asks you for your ID, not always going to have the results you anticipated. Let's work with this one a little bit. But, and issued is actually something that came up. There's another section, indigents. People under mandatory exemptions, there's indigents. People assume indigents means poor. No. On welfare. No. Public assistance, whatever. No. Under that category, I actually threw out a proposal to develop a firearm, price point at around $200 max. And I've thrown out like 4 different ideas. My personal favorite one was the Dolnay derivative. That's what you mundanes call the Apache. Lengthen out the cylinder, rifle out the cylinder, make the front end in 10 millimeter so that you could build the cylinder in 10 millimeter, 40 cal, or 9 millimeter. That's biggest 3 major varieties. There's 45 after that. 45s have dropped out in popularity. Right, wrong, or indifferent, they've dropped out in popularity, and that's okay. And you can fold it over. You got brass knuckles. You could go with that too. There's a couple others, semi-autos, that are under $200, and you could easily design a 9 millimeter and 40 cal semi-auto well under 200. And I'm going to put this out there. Glock, Gaston specifically, you fucked up really bad. You could have developed that gun for $150. What were you thinking? And what you were thinking is you were listening to your staff that told you Americans won't buy a gun under $500. They didn't know what they were talking about. Cheese Bear says, wouldn't that require registering each weapon? Registration is a different part of Dataslav. It comes later on, I think. And yes, there's this fear that registration will lead to confiscation. Well, no. Okay. If you're required to have a firearm, the best way to get out of a ticket is to prove you have one by showing the registration. Then you pay a $10 fee. Fine. You pay a $10 fine. Okay, Your Honor, yes, I screwed up. I left my gun at home that morning. I was in a hurry. I forgot. I also forgot my cell phone. You forgot your cell phone? Yeah, Your Honor, I forgot my cell phone. But here's my registration. Judge looks at it. Yeah. You got a gun registered in your name? Okay, pay the clerk $10 on your way on out. Yes, Your Honor, and I'm out of here. And specifically to every weapon registered, my thought was a little more simple. All right. You show the cop your ID. It says, oh, your name is mandatory carry. Okay. Where's your weapon? Hand my weapon over. He runs the registration on the gun and it ties to my name or my driver's license or my social security number, whatever the hell it is it ties to. Okay. It's your gun. Have a nice day. Your firearm serial numbers might be your second driver's license number. It's just as good as a driver's license number. Maybe you do just say, Your Honor, or Officer, you know I got a gun. Can I just show that to you so you can see it? We're covering two bases at once. Draw it with your weak hand. Yep. Here you go. Here's my gun. Okay, your serial number is 1138765438. Okay, and that came back to a Carey, Mike Carey, 128 Hunter bus, 128 Hunter bus. That looks like your face. What's your date of birth? 29 April 1976. Okay, here you go. So what are you doing out in this part of town at this time of night? Moving on. And you just keep using manifesto. Fuck with me, Squatch. Foss says, Glock's marketing understood perceived value combined with targeting law enforcement made them a huge gun maker they are today. That's true. But they're priced so high because Gaston's staff told him Americans would never buy a, quote, cheap gun. Well, no, it's not necessarily true. They could easily come out with a $200 line. Okay, Squatch is saying, nope, it's your responsibility to ensure your firearm is current with your ID. Changing it should be free and simple. I'm speaking full database of every citizen firearm. Well, that would be impossible. Your registerable guns, yes, register them. And if it were up to me, you could walk into the DMV or the courthouse or the sheriff's office or an FFL holder to transfer a gun from one person to another. If it's a registerable weapon, there's a section in Data's Law that covers home builds that makes what California did with home built guns illegal. You could not register a home built, and you're not allowed to try. And that's the truth. Okay, Cheese Bear asks, what if you're carrying somebody else's weapon with permission? You better know somebody else's first and last name as it appears in DMV records, and you better have your own driver's license with you. Okay? Cheese borrows Squatch's 9mm because her gun is actually in the shop. Sights actually are messed up. Okay. Or she wants to do better scenarios entirely. Cheese and Squatch got together. She tried out his 9mm at the range. It seems like it's okay, but she wants to try it as a concealed carry. You know, is this really what I want to go with? He loans her his gun for a month. She's walking around with it. She gets stopped by a cop. Pretext stop, legitimate. You know, you crossed at the end of the street, but you had both feet outside the crosswalk. Geez, that is actually jaywalking. Believe it or not, that's jaywalking. Okay. He's writing you the ticket. He says, okay, show me your weapon now. He runs it, and it comes back as Sasquatch. First name, Caucasian. What kind of name is that? He says to himself. I'm pretty sure this is not your name. Yes, that's my friend from Georgia. It's his gun. His name is Squatch. Is that his real name? Or no, it's real name. Oh, it's his real name. Sasquatch. His first name is Caucasian. Where does he live? 125 Hunter Bus. Yeah, the hell. Squatch is actually said Kennesaw, Georgia. Okay, that's all checking out. And the gun's not been declared stolen. Okay, have a nice day. Here's your ticket for jaywalking. Better chance of forgetting my keys. Always carry at minimum one gun, one blade, and one phone. In the shower, phone and gun in arm's reach. Cheese Bear says everywhere except the shower she's carrying. You're not required to carry in your own home under Dowd's law. It's one of the few places that is specifically exempt. Oh, you're in your own home, or the somebody else's home. You have a right to be in. You don't have to. You don't have to spurg out. And Squatch wants to know why he lent Cheese his gun. I already answered that because she said she wants to try it out as a concealed carry. Okay. Jesus, Squatch, pay attention, bud. I'm out of coffee. And yeah, all of those things might exist. Now it's also tied to the registration section. Always be prepared. Hey, Semper Paratus, Coast Guard motto. Do we know a Coastie? Anybody? Do any of you know a Coastie? You'd be surprised. There's like 3 people that you've seen in chat that know my real name. All right, Fixed Bayonets is one of them. DM Foss, Squatch could buy this name. Caucasian is Georgian, or Azerbaijani, or Armenian, or Russian. And DM Boss is having a little fun at Squatch's expense. And hey, everybody, I want you to pick on Squatch here for a second. He's being very mean to Cheese, even though she's over it, apparently. He will not let Cheese Bear borrow his gun to see if she likes it. I would do it in a heartbeat. I'm disappointed in you, Squatch. I really am. All right, moving on. Did I just say that out loud? About the subject of the so-called public issue gun. To qualify for it, you would have to be on some sort of assistance. TAMP qualifies. Welfare qualifies. General assistance qualifies. There's a couple other that I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, food stamps. But I think that's actually TAMP. Somebody correct me in the chat if I'm mistaken. You have to be on some sort of public assistance, and part of getting your public assistance every year, you have to bring your gun in. Now, if you bring your gun in and it is so beaten to hell that it is not even safe to unload, I've seen that gun. I handled that gun. Well, I guess you got a lot of range time or something. And it will be replaced right then and there. Your counselor can do it right there on their computer. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Cheese Bear says, thank you, Carrie. I was thinking about borrowing a gun from a family member. Yeah. You know what? You're going to see something you don't normally see around here. I'm going to stop that screen. I'm going to share Windows. Share that. Oof. Oof. Wrong one. Did I close it? There we go. Okay. Control N. Borrowed. Exemption. There you go. Doesn't matter if it's misspelled. Okay, there we go. Doesn't even matter if it's misspelled. Now you guys just watched me put an actual note into Dataslav for a future change. Okay, we got about 10 minutes. Squatch, what, a black box? Blink in Morse code if you're captive. No. By the way, I don't know Morse code. Believe it or not, it's not taught anymore. Either way, we got about 10 minutes left. And did I miss anything? No, I'm caught up. Good. Candy. Just a small sack of it. Okay. Anything, basically. And something you enjoy. All right. Ghost likes gummy bears. I hate gummy bears. I like orange and cherry wedges. I can almost guarantee you he doesn't like cherry wedges because nobody likes cherry wedges that I know of except me. Papa Kerry, he loves lemon heads and atomic fireballs at the same time. That's Papa Kerry. Mama Kerry, what? Oh, geez. What did Mama Kerry like? Peeps! Mama Kerry loved Peeps. That was it. Matter of fact, she kind of stopped liking him so much once they basically became a year-round thing. But okay, that's what Mama Kerry would have had in her bag. Whatever it is that you like. You should actually have something a little bit more robust than that. And eventually I will have it and I will get into it. There you go. Right. Remember, your get home bag is for getting from place where you were when the shit hit the fan to home. Bolt that door shut. Put the couch in front of the door. Put shelves in front of the sliding glass door. Whatever. Until you can make your plan to get the hell out of Dodge. Because you should have been gone already. This should have been a non-issue. You got caught off guard. Earthquakes happen. Right? Tornadoes clearly happen. And please get me started on Amazon. You want to see me spurg out. Autistic rage. And Tourette's. All at the same time. Oh, and the PTSD. Let's not forget the PTSD and how that's going to get set off. By all means. Let me talk about what happened with the Amazon warehouse. The F-bombs will actually be dropped. But it is what it is. Be prepared to just get home quickly. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Monday, Proto 9017 hit. Now you know what it's kind of going to look like. The real thing is still coming. Never forget that Iran created the coronavirus and framed China, although maybe China let themselves be framed. I'm open to that. Keep calm and manage to carry on.